Hey everyone, welcome to the KE Report and a company update from Founders Metals. Chatting with Colin Padget, President and CEO of Founders Metals. Company is traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol FDR and on the OTC markets under the symbol FDMIF. Now, Colin, the last time that I had you on, we outlined this year's 60,000 meter drill program. I'll post a link to that interview in the show notes so everyone can get more of that broad overview of this year's drill program. Now, since that time, just in the last few weeks, we've had the initial round of results, two news releases from this year's drilling. This is all happening at the Antino property in Suriname. I'll post a map to this project. I've posted this on other interviews. It shows where the past drilling has come from and all these other target areas that the company is going to be drilling. You're starting off this year with results from this Van Gogh target. So that's in the kind of lower right of this project. Initial results February 20th, really confirming this discovery that was made last year through channel sampling. And then just yesterday, March 17th, more drill results. So in a total, we have 4 drill results at this target. And the numbers, high grade over some pretty good widths. The February 20th news release, over 20 meters of over 7 grams per ton gold. The most recent news being 72 meters of 2.29 grams per ton gold. Colin, give us a bit of an overview on this Van Gogh. Now we can call it a true new discovery.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the big takeaway is it is a true new discovery. The background behind it is we had anomalies in geophysics regionally. We saw some, structural trends in the lidar data that we had in that area, that we found interesting, followed up with some prospecting. And that's what led to finding the area that we did the channel sample work there at the end of last year, got on the ground with the drill as kind of quickly as we could early this year, and then hitting 28.5 meters of 7 first hole. It's not typical in the industry for sure. So it was super exciting for the team, but that was all very shallow. That interval started at 18 meters down. So getting on the ground, continuing on from hole 1, drilled hole 2 and 3. That was then enough information to kind of give us a sense of orientation. We do oriented drilling or oriented core for all of our drilling. So it helps us with understanding what the structure is doing, what it looks like, all of that. Decided that things would be a better orientation would be to come from the other side. And that's where the Van Gogh 4 hole was collared and drilled down into, this time, fresh rock, into a 72-meter zone that takes that mineralization that we hit in 1 all the way down to 200 meters vertical from surface, which, having a 72-meter wide zone with mineralization or gold, in every meter throughout it is pretty phenomenal. And yeah, new discovery. There's no artisanal mining nearby. The closest drill hole to this Van Gogh area is, almost 4 kilometers away. So pretty excited about all that.
So, Colin, let's talk about what's still to come from Van Gogh, because in that most recent news release from just yesterday, March 17th, you have a couple pictures, maps, and cross sections here. Holes 2 and 3 drilled to the north and to the south of where drill hole 1 and 4 is. Those didn't return any significant values of mineralization. We go down to figure 2, we can see that hole 1, the mineralization close to surface in this oxide area. Hole 4, deeper, maybe 100 meters deeper of where the mineralization starts. What is this telling you for follow-up work here? Are you cut off to the north and to the south? How do you further target?
Yeah, no, so definitely not cut off. Basically, stuff from the channel and then from hole 1 is in the saprolite. It's above that oxide limit line. So that's in the case of our mineralization, it's quartz and gold, sitting within weathered rock. And so there's a couple of different interpretations there that, maybe we had a bit of slumping, a bit of movement, but really the thing that we want to follow and that we are going to be following with ongoing drilling at Van Gogh is the interval in the fresh rock down in the meta sediments. So that interval there suggests that hole 2 and 3, we just kind of came over the top, and those ideally, if you could go back in time and do it all again, you'd color them, 30 or 50 meters further to the west to hopefully come through that interval in Van Gogh 4 or VG004. So that's what we're in the process of doing. So I think it is as simple as we just came over the top.
So in that figure 2 again, the upper results from hole one in that oxide limit of rocks down below in the meta sediments. Explain what this means in terms of what the potential could be, but it sounds like in slightly different rocks that you hit these intervals.
Yeah, so these are slightly different rocks. The interval at the top, I mean, the same original rock, basically. The stuff above the oxide, or the stuff that Van Gogh 1 and the channel sampler in, are saprolite, which is just the weathered rock. Because we're in a jungle environment, you've got lots of water, you know, hot, humid conditions, and the rocks tend to break down, and they give you this nice saprolite layer at the top. That's a really important thing to a lot of these deposits because it's free dig material. There's no need to blast saprolite if you want to mine these things. You get in there with an excavator and it's just truck and shovel. So having gold in that horizon is really important, and has a lot of value to future economics of these mine projects. But from a structure standpoint and from a follow-up drilling standpoint, what we want is we want the structural information from the drilling in the fresh rock. So that's the Van Gogh 4 interval here in the metaseds. That's the thing that we want to follow up from. It gives us the best information and the best chance of hitting it along strike. And so I don't see any reason to think right now that we're, cut off to the north and south. Certainly not with the structure of the scale that we're seeing here.
Let's zoom back out for a little bit, back to that property map that I'm posting here. As I said, this Van Gogh target down kind of on the lower right side of the property. We also see this dotted line that you have that says emerging gold trend. We've talked a lot about the drilling that's happened more in the, I guess, northwest portion of the area, the upper Antino, lower Antino, and the Bouze area. But with this emerging gold trend, now that Van Gogh is a new discovery, what does that mean for drilling this Maria Giralta as well? That looks like it could be on the same trend.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, we haven't gotten there yet, but we've done some surface work on the ground, followed up on some pretty impressive historic numbers when it comes to auger sampling and that sort of thing. We see evidence of shearing at surface, and like all of the hallmark kind of signatures of interesting things for gold mineralization at Antino are all there. And it's definitely on the short list for places that we go to next with the two drills that we have, basically playing leapfrog one over the other, going to new exploration targets. So yeah, Maria Giralda is definitely going to be in the not too distant future a target for a drill, and some follow up there to see if we can connect those dots between Van Gogh and Lower Antino.
So, where are the drills? Where are they turning now? Where are they going next? Essentially, where can we be expecting results to come from?
Yeah, so as always, we have a drill turning at Upper Antino. That's a case of Upper Antino, Blaze, Lower Antino. Really, the way to think about those is we're compiling results and we're going to put out just larger, like more comprehensive drill results on those. But I'd expect something from those in the not too distant future. After that, so let me back up, I guess, in terms of where drills are. There's one drill at Upper Antino. There's one drill that's working on an exploration target that's, I think, would still qualify as Boise. I think we're probably still writing Boise on the drill collars, but it's actually a little bit closer. It's about a kilometer and a half up towards Upper Antino. So filling in that gap between the two targets there. The third drill is at Van Gogh. And then the fourth drill is left Da Vinci and is now actually at Lawa South. So we just started drilling at Lawa, and getting into what is and remains our chief geologist's favorite target on the property. So yeah, excited about that core as well.
Okay, so again, a lot of drilling. This is a 60,000-meter drill program that the company has ongoing throughout this year. What else should we be looking for here, Colin? I realize a lot of drill results, but make sense of, in your eyes, what really adds even more value to this share price, which, in all fairness, has been doing very well for 2 years now.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think what we've come to recognize, and I think the market does as well, is that look, Upper Antino, we're going to keep building that out, and it's going to keep evolving into what we all see it today as, and see it becoming in the future. So that kind of underpins things. I mean, we'll have lots more results coming out of that, but it's going to be later stage. We'll be working on development stuff up there. We're doing some studies in the background and all of that. But what really moves the needle for founders in general and for the Antino project are these new discoveries. And so sometimes I get feedback says like, look, there's a lot of names, there's a lot of targets, and it's like, well, at one point we thought maybe we'd pull back on the naming thing, but the reality is like that is the case on the ground. There are a lot of targets, a lot of, very promising looking targets. And so far, many of them have come back with some pretty impressive gold numbers. And so having people a little overloaded with the exploration targets that have gold on them is kind of the point right now. We want to just keep hitting things and getting news flow out on new discoveries. And it's just showing the potential. That's what this first round of exploration work is all about. It's not about drilling them all off, to the degree of Upper Antino. It's about showing what's there, what they could represent, and then coming back and doing some of that definition type drilling.
Okay. So again, if you want to hear the full overview of that program, click that link in the show notes to hear that full interview. Also, visit the company's website to look over some of those recent news releases, get a feeling of these early on results, which undoubtedly there's going to be a lot more results coming from across this project. If anybody has any follow-up questions for Colin, please email me, fleck@kereport.com. Colin, great chatting with you. Thank you very much for the update. I'll follow up with you as we get some more drill results.
Yeah, great chatting with you. Thanks a lot.